Come on, kid, come on.
Let's go, Dan.
Big pull, Dan, big pull, big pull, big pull, big pull, big pull. Let's go.
Hey, what's going on, nation? I got a special treat for you guys today. I brought my buddy Dan back in for a quick tip video on how to improve your sumo deadlift. Dan lifts a lot of weight. It's actually how we met in the gym. I was getting kind of jelly. But I invited him to the studio because I wanted him to share with you guys his 4 tips on how to build a powerful sumo deadlift. So with that being said, here's Dan.
Hey guys, I'm Dan Howell here. If you guys don't know me, I'm an amateur powerlifter. I compete in the 83 kilogram weight class, which equates to about 181, 182. In competition, I've totaled about 1440 at a 520 squat, 275 bench, and 645 deadlift. In terms of the gym, I've done a 525 squat, a 300-pound bench, and a 660 deadlift. So I have a little bit of knowledge to help you guys become better lifters. So if you guys are interested, you guys can follow me on Instagram at MrDan_Howell. But today, we have 4 tips that we want to share with you on how to become a better sumo deadlifter. All right, guys, so tip number 1 is your stance. Typically, conventional is going to be about shoulder width apart with your feet. Sumo is going to be the very opposite. Now, it isn't just putting your feet wide and hoping for the best. It's not just putting them nice and flimsy and loose. You want to make sure like there's tight and tension there. So I'm going to walk you guys through my own setup. So I usually start off by using my right leg. And I use my right leg as a screw, and I screw it into the ground by pushing the front of it out, activating the quad and the calf. Then I'm going to take the left leg and do the same exact thing in the same exact positioning, right? So now we're even, and we're not just loose and goose, all right? No loosey-goosey here. We're tight and strong. That's the whole thing, is being tight and strong. So as a recap, conventional is shoulder width apart. Sumo is not, and it's not just putting your legs wider. You want to build that tension by screwing your feet into the ground, one at a time, and making sure you're in symmetrical form. All right, guys, so tip number 2 is grabbing the barbell, okay? So it isn't as easy as just reaching down and grabbing the barbell and pulling as hard as you can. No. When you're pulling 600 plus pounds, that can cause an injury, all right? So there's a few steps you want to take into consideration. One of the most important parts of the pull is your lat activation. Now I'll show you right here, standing up before you even grab the barbell, how to actually know that's happening. So you're going to have your arms straight out like this, and you're going to have everything tucked back and flexed. Now the point of this is to kind of get rid of any space between the lat and the arm. You want to make sure it's nothing going on there, or as minimal space as possible. Now I'll show you through my own stance and my own procedure. All right, so I like to just grab the barbell once at a time, one hand at a time, nice and tight. And then I'll tuck everything in and pull down. Now I'm activating the lats, and I'm actually activating the glutes in this positioning. You want to make sure that from this point on, everything's nice and tight. All right, so I'll show you guys one more time. I'm going to come down, one hand at a time. That's just my own thing. One hand at a time, nice and tight. Tuck the hips in. Glutes are firing. Everything's firing. Back is flat. Lats are activated. All right. You want to make sure that you are keeping nice and tight when you're doing this setup, because if you're not, you can risk injury, and we don't want that. All right. In order to pull big numbers, you want to make sure you're nice and tight. So tip number 3, since we already helped you guys set up, is the pull. So 2 things you have to know before we even go into that is your knees. You don't want to see them collapse inward. That can cause them to either be blown out or some kind of other injury. As well with that is breathing. Breathing is very important. You want to inhale at the bottom, keeping your core nice and tight and your back flat. And as you pull through, exhale and let out the rest of your breath at the top of the pull. As you set up for another rep, you're going to come down and then breathe in again and then pull up and exhale at the top. You want to make sure your breathing is constant and relaxed. So once again, you want to watch out for your knees and make sure they're not collapsing inward, as well as making sure that you're breathing throughout the whole constant movement and not just at the beginning or the end. All right, guys, tip number 4 is training. So I train about 2 times a week, Tuesday and Friday. On Tuesday, I do heavy, which would be about 5 sets of 2. And in between each set, I'll do about 5 to 10 minutes of rest. I do this because in powerlifting, in most meets that I've competed in, I've had at least 6 to 7 minutes in between my attempts. So I want to make sure I have at least 5 minutes in between my sets. On Friday, I do volume, which is about 4 sets of about 8 to 12 reps, all right? So the reason why I do heavy and volume in 1 week is because it's important to have a strength component as well as a volume component to build up that muscle and to build the muscle mass. You want to be able to hold a stronger weight by having more muscle.
All right, so there you guys have it. Special thanks to Dan for those amazing tips. Pretty sure you guys are going to be pulling much heavier sumos in no time. Just with those few tips that he went over with me when we were lifting, I was already able to pull over 525 just in 1 day of learning sumo with him. So I'm excited for my own progression. And, you guys know I've been trying to hit a 600-pound deadlift for a while. I injured my left arm. That really set me back almost 8 months. And to be honest with you, I was getting to the point to where conventional just wasn't feeling the same, and I'm really starting to like the sumo, and these tips that Dan showed me I know are going to help me get to 600 a lot faster. I'm excited about it. And one more thing, guys, be sure to hit that like button. Dan was a little nervous. It was his first time on camera. These videos aren't easy to make, which Dan quickly found out when he was trying to get all his thoughts together and present them to you the best way possible. But hit that thumbs up button for Dan. Let's get this video over 9,000. As usual, over 9,000. You guys know what I mean when I say that. Hit that subscribe button. And if you want to see more content from Dan or see him in future videos, show him some love on his Instagram and let us know down in that comment section below. Hope you guys have a great day. And as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys.